if, if that's all right. But
Okay,
just
sure.
before that, can I just check with Umu? Is are we ready to start? Is this a good time to start? Okay, Umu might be muted, but I can see that it is recorded. So just a word of wait, I think it's recorded. So just okay, yes. Yeah, it is recorded. So just to let everybody know that we are recorded. And so we'll be starting now. And this recording will be shared via the Teach Online so that others who are not able to actually join the workshop right now can also, check it out later on when they do have time. So, firstly, I guess welcome everybody, and thank you for joining today at 11. It's a very, very busy time for everyone, but it's nice to see that we have a nice little close knit group here. And I am so happy to be officially now, I guess, formally welcoming Associate Professor Dr. Wan Nurliza Mahadi. Dr. Wan Nurliza Mahadi is actually from the Faculty of Engineering, Department of Electrical Engineering, and she has, quite a long list of accomplishments as an engineering academic. But right now, what I would like to just introduce a little bit about Dr. Wan is that she's actually a certified executive coach. So when she's talking about coaching, she's actually been trained not only to talk about coaching, but to also coach people in career and professional, and I suppose a little bit personal development and personal growth as well, because that's always part of it, right, Dr. Wan?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's always part of it because it comes in a parcel. But one thing I'd like to also mention is that Umu and I, and also Dr. Safia, who is a head of Leadwell unit at ADEC, we also like to warmly welcome home in a way, welcome home for a visit to Dr. Wan, because Dr. Wan is actually formally the head of unit for coaching and mentoring for ADEC from 2013 to 2014. So it's so nice to see part of the extended ADEC family again. So hopefully we can see more of Dr. Wan after this workshop, and we'll do more workshops with Dr. Wan, hopefully, inshallah.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, we will set that up. So
Okay.
for now, without further ado, I will pass this over to Dr. Wan, and hope we all enjoy our workshop today. So Dr.
Okay.
Wan, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Amira. All right. Okay. Perhaps we can do, since we are a small group, we can do a little bit of interactive. I like this. Just a short question on how well do you know about coaching, or how well have you practiced coaching, either from the personal dimension or in your professional in your professional career.
Um, if it's okay, I'll just start
Yeah.
since no one's answered yet. I have taken a level one coaching under not neurolinguistic, but neurosemantic, I think.
All
So
right.
that's about all.
Okay. So meaning that you have the gist of it. You know what is the gist of coaching as well. Yes. All right.
Yes, and I've also benefited
Yes.
from being coached as well.
Yes, actually, what I want to share today as well, some of the skills, even if we don't go for a proper certification and a long length practice, but the even the some skills, the essential skills that we're going to share today, is beneficial in a way to help us to move along in life, either personally or professionally. That is my experience as well, having learned the coaching or having obtained the certification in coaching. And so as my colleagues last time who went to the same coaching certification, so as the students and so as our other colleagues, in terms of the way we communicate and the way we clarify many things. All right, that is good. So I think without further ado, I will share the slides here, and Umu and Dr. Amira, later, if you want it, I can email you the slide. And since this is only a 2 hours, for us to really digest it, perhaps We will not go into a fully digested version of because it is just a 2 hour. But however, you can have a look at the slides later on, yeah, to go over through it again. So let me just share the slide. Okay, I will do the. Are you okay here, Latlis? Or you want to go on the slideshow?
I think that's
I
fine.
think this looks, yeah,
Sorry?
it's fine. Yeah.
That's fine. All right. Okay. So what we are going to share today is more to the essential coaching skills for personal development. Just like Dr. Amira mentioned earlier, a professional development. Actually, we can only achieve a true meaning of professional development when we are already okay in terms of personal development, because I do feel that our journey in life, especially career wise, we will have to have two. Number one is, I call it a character competencies, hand in hand with professional competencies. Once we are okay personally, and the rest hopefully will be just a breeze, yeah, quite okay. So some of the skills that we are going to share today are self-awareness. Okay, how well are we aware of ourselves, responsibilities, and self-belief? So the three are all really tightly close together. So hopefully, once we are aware with ourselves, it will results in a heightened self-awareness, yeah. And the next skills will be, how well do we build rapport, even personally or in our workspace or our workplace. Meaning, when we are talking about rapport, is our presence. Our When we have that presence, then it will invoke our mutual respect as well as trust. So today as well, I will share the GROW model. The GROW coaching model is the basic model on how we can internalize the clarification and the coaching process. And of course, having said that, the important or the essential skills are listening. How well do we listen? Questioning. How well do we question? And of course, when we master the listening skills and the questioning skills, they call it in coaching terms is active listening and powerful questioning. Therefore, we can have our communicating skills. All right. And even effective communication can take place in many ways. How well do we communicate? Are we an assertive communicator, or are we a passive communicator? Are we an aggressive communicator or passive aggressive communicator? However, once we have gone through the listening skills, questioning skills, hopefully it will help in improving our communications. So in here, I don't think so. I don't know. Perhaps I go back to the rest of you. How do you describe your last week? In one word or one sentence?
Dr.
I'll
Wan,
probably
should
say
we shout
busy.
out or type?
Sorry?
Maybe Dr. Wan can call out names.
Oh, okay, sure. Dr. Ng, um, how do you describe your last week? If you can do it in one sentence, if you can, sorry, in one word, if you cannot, in
No
one
worries.
sentence.
Yes, I would just say busy.
Busy, okay.
Because now everything is going to be done online, and I still
Yes,
have to juggle between clinical work,
yes.
where I have face-to-face contact with patients, and we are still suiting up for the potential COVID patients. And on top of that, I also need to kind of like get online for my student teaching assessments as well as research work.
Okay, all right. So, okay, Dr. N is busy. His last week is busy. All right. Dr. Amira, do you want to be included in the question as well?
Yes, sure, if possible.
Yes, okay. How do you describe your last week?
I guess if it's one word, I'll describe it in a verb.
Okay.
Um, Adapting.
Adapting. Okay. All right. Adapting. Okay. I think most of us, I think, are there as well, adapting as well. Even we're busy, we're adapting as well. All right. And doctor, another one is,
Dr. Wan,
yeah.
there's a few answer in the chat box.
Okay. All right. Okay. I see. Okay. 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 All right. So no problem. Okay. Multitask. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Chasing. Okay. Dr. Savia said chasing. All right. All right. In a way, you are in touch with yourself, which is good. Okay? You know what happened last week. I mean, we are aware of our conduct. We are aware of our feelings. It's more to our feelings inside. Yeah. Okay. Let me just share again. Okay. We were talking earlier. How do we describe our last week is actually we want to emphasize on our feelings and experiences, meaning we are still in touch with ourselves. Okay, and no word is wrong, no word is right. All right. So okay, in a nutshell, the essential coaching skills here. Okay, the platform, I will say the platform of it is building rapport, presence, mutual respect, and trust. Okay, building rapport is how we normally connect to each other, connect to our students, connect to our colleagues, connect to our family and friends. How about presence? Okay, we could be bodily here, but we are not here. Okay, for example, if I am meeting my student, I could be physically in front of my student, but I am somewhere else. Okay, so I think presence is very important to be where we are in one place. All right, in order for us to build trust. For example, if we are dealing with our customer, if we are dealing with our patients or doctors, if I'm dealing with my clients, if I'm dealing with my students, okay, number one that I need to, for them, when we are talking about as a coach, yeah, lecturer can be a coach, a doctor can be a coach, a manager can be a coach. Number one, in order for us to start the conversation, to solve any situation, we need to have mutual respect and we need to have trust. Without mutual respect and trust, it's a bit difficult for the other, our coachee, our clients, our students to open up. All right. So the foundation of it is building rapport. So there comes self-awareness. All right. How how are we aware of our thoughts process? Are we aware of our feelings? Are we aware of our conduct? Okay. Once we are aware of our own doing, our own thought process, our own feelings, we will have our self-belief. Because for example, I know what are my strengths, I know what are my weaknesses, I know what I am good at, and I know I feel that that is not really my forte or my niche area. So I'm aware, and that's where we can have the self-belief, responsibility, and ownership in whatever we do. This one later in later slides, we will talk a little bit deeper. Then goes listening skills. Do we really listen? Do we really listen to what is being said, or we are formulating our own agenda? Normally, normal case, we are formulating our own agenda. We don't really listen to what being said, but we can always train ourselves to listen without any judgmental, without being judgmental. So one of the key skills towards the later slide is on being non-judgmental. Therefore, then the questioning. So listening, we call it active listening, meaning you really listen, and it is beyond just what being said, because communication can take place in many ways. One of it is verbal, and it could be the intonation of your voice, and it could be your body language, uh, and it could be your eyes, and it could be even your whole presence can communicate actually. And the next one is on the questioning that can result in effective communication. When we are talking about questioning, it is more to an certain time. Sometimes you need an open-ended so that you can open up the person to talk a little bit more. Okay, everybody's okay here?
Yes, I think we're
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so this is just the basics. So we go a bit deeper later. Okay, so just a little bit on the coaching skills. What is coaching skills? So we define it a little bit. The one that I like is from Sir John Whitmore. It is about unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance. It is helping them to learn rather than teaching them. Okay, in class, normally we teach them, but we can insert a little bit of coaching skills so that we can invoke, or we can unlock the students' potential to learn. So meaning that in a way, in class, I think we cannot do fully coaching. However, what we can do a little bit of coaching, a little bit of mentoring, a little bit of teaching. So it will move away from just giving everything to students. So we give so that they can open up, they can unlock, and they can start doing their self-learning. So, and it is applicable as well with our day-to-day communications, day-to-day contact, and especially in our family, people with the young kids. Yeah, you can start coaching your own offspring. Coaching is partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. This is by International Coach Federation, which is based in US. Yeah, actually, coaching is since the 1990s started in the UK and in the US, and at that time, the company adapt the coaching in order to increase their workers' performance. So coaching is the art of facilitating the unleashing of people's potential to reach meaningful and important objectives. And to me personally, having all of this, actually it will steer us in the right direction towards a life with a purpose. And I always say, when you have a life of a life with a purpose, that means you don't work even a single day in your life, because you are so looking forward to do many things. Okay. All right. Okay, so the good thing about coaching is actually the responsibility for learning lies with the individual and not with you, the coach. When we are talking about the coach here, in general, if you have the coaching skills, you could be CEOs, managers, lecturers, teachers, parents, and many more. But when we are talking about the coach, it is normally referred to the certified coach practitioner. However, coaching skills actually can still be successfully practiced by many people through all walks of life. All right. So actually, coaching skills, it provide a structure in our whatever that we want to take on, and it creates ownership as well. When there is an ownership, so we can say that the performance will be longer lasting, and results will be sustainable, and it encourages as well give and get feedback. And the good thing about it is it enrich you and it empowers you to learn for individual, yeah. And continuous observation and evaluation, and the gift of it all will be we will always have answers to our own situation. uh, Normally we don't say as problems, we call it a situation, yeah. And it is empowering to know that we have the answer. It's just that we have to seek for the answer using a certain structured method. Okay. And some of the benefits will be the fresh perspectives on personal challenges. I do believe all of us, even the school children, when I talk to them, they have their own personal challenges as we move on through life, because there are many paths that we will travel in life, yeah, from one point to another. And it helps to give us the fresh perspectives on personal challenges, and it will help to enhance decision making skills, because we will learn to detach or to separate emotion and uh, our professional duty. We detach and we reattach if necessary. Increase confidence, of course, when we know what we are doing, why we are doing it, and of course, the attainment of relevant goals. So this is if the statement is for when you're being coached by the professional coach. However, for some of us, practicing coaching skills also can result in some of the above, or you can obtain the similar results. Okay, so we are on we go back on the building awareness, self-awareness, responsibility, and self-belief at the workplace and at home. So actually, the focus is for us to identify fundamental potential of each person, namely the potential to go further professionally, to live more calmly and serenely, and of course, overall, in general, for us to feel good, to feel greater satisfaction, both at work and at home. To be honest, when we are okay with ourselves, the rest will be okay. So I would call the self-awareness is as an enabler. Okay. Actually, when we are aware of ourselves or self-awareness, it will help us to find the right direction in life and career. It also enables the person to build relationship with oneself and other people. If we cannot have a good relationship with our own self, then it's a bit difficult for us to have good relationship with others. If we hate ourselves, we cannot love others. As simple as that. A self-awareness as well is the ability to monitor our inner and external world. Our thoughts and feelings arise as signal. So actually, when we develop our self-awareness, it requires an information gathering perspective, as well as it increases adaptability and flexibility. An increased self-awareness builds resilience. It also improves our ability to empathize with others. So I just need to, can we have a little chat as well on this self-awareness? Okay. How well are we aware of our inner dialogue?
Um,
Do we sometimes, I think Dr. Amira did the course on something similar to neuro-linguistic programming.
yes, I did.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
think it was neurosemantic.
yes, neurosemantic. And there's more to the reframing of your mind, isn't it, of your thought process.
Yeah, definitely. They talked a
Yes,
lot
yeah,
about how we think and
yes,
will actually impact how we act and how we
yes,
come across to
exactly.
other people.
Yes, exactly. But prior to how we think, shaping on how we think, but we have to be aware on how we think, isn't it? The thought process coming in and out. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes. Maybe we can
So,
learn more from Dr. Wen.
okay. Okay. At one time, are you aware of what is going on inside your mind? We will have our inner chatterbox, yes? Some people are very busy here. Some people are quite calm. Some people are not that full. Some people are overloaded. Perhaps later, after the training, we can start being mindful of our inner thought. For example, yeah, I give an example. Uh, we saw somebody that we are not feeling easy about that person. All right, for example. Okay, what is our inner thoughts inside that? And how do we control that? Number one, before we control, we have to understand our inner dialogue. We have to be mindful of our inner dialogue. What am I feeling? Am I feeling angry? That is feeling, yeah? Feeling and inner dialogue. What am I feeling now? I'm feeling tired. That means you are in touch with your body. You are in touch with yourself. We have to address that. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling sad. I hate that person. I love that person. You know what I mean? I am okay with that person. That means we are in touch. That one we have to address first. I am very tired. That means you know yourself. Because sometimes, because of modern life, cannot blame to modern life so much, we are numbing ourselves. We are numb, which is not good for our growth. When we are angry, say we are angry. There goes the effective communication. Yeah, how do you voice out your dissatisfaction? How do you voice out your anger? But before you voice out, you have to be aware of your feelings. You have to be aware of your thoughts. Then you can clarify, put it on the table, and sort it out. When we are not aware of our thought process, and when we are not aware of our emotions, where can we start? We have to start at our current situation. In counseling, we have to accept the situation first. If it is in counseling, so as in coaching, we have to know the reality. Later I will show the grow process, the grow model. We have to understand our reality. Where are we now? That's where we can start. All right, let us go back to our slides. Okay, as we have discussed earlier, um, the first step that we have to know is we are aware of ourselves. And how do we say we are aware of ourselves is when we understand, we know, we feel, and we can monitor our inner and external world. Our thoughts and feelings arise as a signal. So, meaning that this is a practice of mindfulness. Normally, we can do meditation. For some, we can pray, or we just sit still. Later, we will share on some of the practice that can help us in terms of this self-awareness. All right. Okay. Now, say for example, we reflect on our self-awareness. What am I looking in the mirror? Am I looking, say an example for myself, is that me with the two horns? Or is that me with the halo? Or is that me, the real me, physical me, how others sees me? Okay, and people do sometimes change depending on the situation. That is when we are aware of ourselves. That's where we can control and monitor. Not so much control. Yeah, we can monitor our feelings. We can monitor our thought process in order for us to steer them in the right direction. This will come as well on the alignment of conscious and subconscious things. Yeah. So of course we do not want to be this. Okay, the two horns is not nice to look at, but I think in all of us we have the two horns. Sometimes it appears, and most of the time we hide it. Okay, and this is a good one. Hello, and this is the real me and the real me. So I think most people will have all of those. The way, but it depends on the way how are we aware of ourselves, what is our self-awareness status, and how do we monitor and handle the situation. Okay, how do we practice our self-awareness, or how can we invoke the self-awareness? Okay, meaning that we can monitor our feelings, positive and negative. It is okay. You can have a positive and you can have the negative feelings. Okay, you have to accept both at first, your positive and negative feelings. And we are aware of our actions and reactions. Okay, example, our actions. Are we aware of what we are doing? Are we aware of the way we talk to our colleagues? Are we aware of the way we talk to our siblings, our offsprings, our family, our friends? And for example, reaction. How do we react to a certain things? All right. For example, somebody come with a very bombastic news. How do you react to it? Okay. And aware of our thought process. Okay. Are we aware that what is coming in our mind? What is the thought process? Inner dialogue. Are we aware of our inner dialogue on the daily basis, day-to-day basis, from 1 hour to the next hour, or from 1 month to the next month, from 1 second to the next second? Are we aware of our strengths and weaknesses? And are we aware of our own abilities? So if you look in here, there are two sections here, our inner world and our outer world. Our inner world will be our feelings and our thought process. Our outer world will be for example, the way we handle others, our strength, our abilities, our weaknesses, etc., etc. Okay, and having addressed the self-awareness, meaning feelings, we accept both, yeah, positive and negative feelings, our actions, reactions, our thought process, our strengths and weaknesses, and our own abilities. Then how do we practice the self-awareness? So we have to start looking at ourselves objectively and do the self-reflection. Listen and monitor our inner dialogue. Identify our values. What are my values? Ask yourself. And alignment of subconscious and conscious. And we can write it down. That will be very helpful in jotting down your thought, your feelings, your thought process. Practice mindfulness. And feedback from, of course, feedback from trusted friends and family. We can ask them, okay, what do you think? Do you think I acted rationally just now? Or do you think I was a little bit, unreasonable? What do you think? But this one must be the trusted friends and families. Yeah, the one that you trust, the one that do not have any, personal interest or whatever. They love you for the way you are, so they can give something which is not biased. And when they give you a feedback as well, is for your own good or for your own growth. Okay. Um. Okay. Can we discuss a little bit? We want to discuss on how do we look at ourselves objectively, self-reflections, and our values and alignment of conscious and subconscious. Okay. Perhaps Dr. Ng, can you share with us how do you practice looking at yourself objectively? I cannot hear you. Cannot hear. Cannot hear.
I find that keeping a journal really helps.
Yes.
And I think what we generally learned, like when we were doing our PhD, was to just kind of like map things out on like event management chart. So it basically combines milestones with a Gantt chart. So you kind of know where you stand with your work and how much you might need to get things done in a certain period of time. And usually we will get feedback like either from colleagues or the professors that we're working with, and I usually try to sort of like share that with the group that we are working on a certain project, so that it gets much better feedback as to your input to the whole process itself, and also to get feedback in terms of how else they think you might be able to contribute. um, I used to do a little bit more sort of like self-reflection when I used to have more time and compared to here. Unfortunately, now that we are juggling with so many things, and I find that my work hours are so much longer than what it used to be, just simply because you have to sort out all these issues with internet, with students being at home, and slow internet logins, that I don't have time anymore to do this self-reflection on a regular basis.
But don't you think it is quite helpful, isn't it? Like journaling, and I did as
Yes.
well, journaling,
Yeah.
self-reflection, etc. But again,
Right.
the challenge is the time here, yeah? Having this situation. And I do believe it comes with the medical practice as well, yeah? Like journaling, looking at things in a very objectively.
Correct.
Yes, yes, that is good. Okay, how about Dr. Amira? Do you have any experience in this?
Um, uh,
Okay.
sorry.
What, sorry,
In terms
yeah,
of,
what is,
I guess,
uh-huh.
how I practice self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, I do try to kind of like, I don't really know how to explain it, but now I listen to my body and also to my emotions, so that if I feel like I am beginning to feel overwhelmed, I'm not sure how that process is, that I managed to actually realize that I am like about to be feeling overwhelmed before I actually end up, reacting to that feeling. But then I know that I need to take a step back. And or if I'm beginning to feel physically tired, I kind of like am aware of that feeling, that sensation that's about to begin in my body. So then I know that I need to sit down, or take a little break. So in that sense, I've been practicing that self-awareness, but without really being able to clarify or explain to others how it actually happens. But also, two other things that I have been doing that's almost akin to journaling, which I think has been very helpful, is that one, I I very often would, I don't have a to-do list, but I have a done list. It's a bit like a gratitude list. So every now and then, every day, I might list down 10 things or 30 things that I am grateful for today or that I achieved today. And that kind of like helps me to feel more happy, and I'm aware of that. And another thing that I've been doing is I've been using Touch attendance module to very scrupulously take note of what I'm doing and how I'm spending my time with work. So even with like small blocks of things that are related to work, I will jot that down. And from there, I get to look at the data and I'm realizing that I'm spending more time on some things at work and less time on some other things. Like, for example, I noticed that I spent a lot of time communicating for work purposes, but I spend very little time reading and I spend very little time writing, for example. So yeah, that's my how I practice self-awareness.
Okay, that is great. Both of you, you've been doing that, and that is great. Keep on doing it, and because not many are doing that, and using that, I do. I think both of you agree. Using that, we are in touch of our what to do next and what not to do next. What is my feeling? Oh, I should stop now. Oh, this is before I burn out. I better take apply a few days of leave or doing something different, etc. How about values? Values, your values, and the alignment of your conscious and your subconscious. Have you identified, have you aware of your own values? Okay, for example, say for example, we take an example. My top priority in values is being nice to people, give, for example, my love unconditionally. I don't expect anything in return. I give, but I don't expect anything in return. That is, for example. For example, that is one of the values. Yeah. So, meaning that is, we know, we identify our values. That is our, normally our subconscious are all good thing. Yeah. So how do I align with the conscious thing? Do I give something without expecting anything in return? When we start aligning our conscious, subconscious, and conscious, we are enlightened, meaning that we feel great about ourselves, and nothing can stop us, nothing can touch us, nothing can dampen our passion, nothing can dampen our progress. It doesn't matter what other people say, as long as we are not doing anything wrong. By law, the law, the man-made law of the world, of which if we are reside in a certain country, we have to follow the laws, or by the higher powers law. Am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Yeah. So I think this is as well is an important values. Do I know my values? And how well does my conscious, the one that I do every day, the way I think, the way I treat others, the way I treat the world, the way I treat environment, does it align with my subconscious? That means my values. If everything is in alignment, then we will live a peaceful life. Meaning that we can attain our personal development as well as our career development smoothly. And of course, it will be stuck in our focus to travel. However, we will enjoy the journey, the pathway. The old saying is stop and smell the roses, isn't it? Enjoy our journey. I think that is the most important thing. Yeah, we are supposed to enjoy the journey. We're supposed to enjoy our career, and we are not supposed to feel it as a burden. But it will reach a certain time when you feel, oh, I feel that I cannot breathe anymore, and the self-awareness will help us keep us back on the right track. Meaning that, okay, I think I'm a little bit overwhelmed here. I need to take a short break to reevaluate many things. Okay, which route now that I want to take, which path now that I am going on. hope that is okay. So we move on to the next slide. Okay, all right, you are doing all of this, which is great. I'm happy. And you have looked at yourself objectively. You have done your self-reflection, monitor the inner dialogue, and sometimes, uh, I don't like this kind of thinking, so I have to remove that kind of thinking. This is not the me that I like. That is a question. Normally, I myself, I practice. Oh, when I talk in a certain manner or I act in a certain manner, I will tell myself, no, this is not the me that I like. Okay, I have to change it to the me that I like. Okay, like you're looking yourself in the mirror. And of course, I practice journaling as well. It is very, very helpful. All right. Okay. Um, and of course, what we believe about ourselves will define who we are. So, and we need the paradigm shifting, yeah, like certain habit and so on, a shift in our mindset to reshift our belief system, because that's what we define ourselves. And when we are aware of ourselves, meaning when we are aware of our, I call it strength, weaknesses, our inner dialogue, our inner feelings, our the way we think, meaning that we have practiced the ownership, that we own everything, meaning it will actually, all of this will empower us, it will strengthen our autonomy, and actually we are the designer of our future. The future, not necessarily in our career development as well. It could be, I think the most important thing is the personal development. When we develop as a person, and the rest will take care of itself. Okay, so that one is okay, good. I'm happy, great. Both of you, all of you are practicing it. And okay, let us have a look. One of the famous model, or the very famous and basic model used in the coaching skills, the coaching theory, is grow model. So actually it is a technique for problem solving or goal setting. It is being developed in the UK, and it has been used extensively in the corporate coaching, yeah, mainly for the company at that time to develop or to perform well. It was used since 1990s, and the contribution, if you can Google it up, mainly from Graham, Alexander, Alan Fine, as well as Sir John Whitmore. Okay, this is roughly the grow model or the grow technique. So we have stages. Grow stand for goal, reality, options, and way forward. So goal is, of course, your objective, your goal. What do you want? Okay, goal, as we are often use our Gantt chart, we often deal with our project milestone, etc. Goal, we could have the long-term goal, we can have the short-term goal, even can have a break it into a small goal. And reality is where we are now. What is happening now? Okay, you have a goal, but what is your reality? So one of it, when we are talking about the self-awareness, self-belief earlier on, we have to learn to accept the reality, no denial. Meaning that the reality is where I am now. This is where I am now. So from the reality, from what is happening now, then we can explore options. Meaning that, what can I do? What can we do? Right? There are many ways. This is the whole process. When you are being coached or you use the coaching skills, it will help to clarify what you want, the goal. Because some people, they do not know what they want. They just go along with whatever coming their way. Right? So we have to clarify what we want. We have to accept our current reality, what is happening now, and we can learn to explore options. So this option can help us to move to a. All right. So a little bit in here, if you have a look, how to coach. Number one is we have to clarify. When we are talking about how to coach, is you can do self-coaching, or you can coach your students, you can coach your colleagues, okay, using the coaching skills. But what to clarify is your current reality, and we can use the grow model in the grow model as an enabler for a discovery questioning, contextual listening, messaging, acknowledging, celebrating, and solution focused scaling. And at the end of the grow process, we will have deliverables, meaning we will have our desired outcome. So through the grow process, it involves discovery questioning or powerful questioning, contextual listening, active listening, and the messaging, what are you trying to convey, and acknowledging or affirmation, and you celebrate your little achievement. And of course you can use scaling. For example, from the scale of 0 to 10, where are you now in a certain situation? If you throw in a certain objective that you want to do, from the from a scale of from 0 to 10, where are you now? For example, I say, okay, now I am at 6. Okay, what options do you have? How are you going to move from 6 to 10? What options do you have? Okay, those kind of um, conversation, yeah, or coaching process. Okay, goal. Goal is, what is your goal? Meaning, what do you want to achieve? And what will be different when you achieve it? Okay, and what is important about this for you? For example, what is your goal? For example, my goal is I want to write a book. Example. Okay, what do you want to achieve? I want to write a book. Okay, what will be different when you achieve it? Okay, once I have published a book, be the difference. Oh, I would say something like, for example, yeah, just a quick example. Oh, I want to pass down the knowledge. I want to convey this knowledge. For example, say, for example, 100 people can benefit, at least 100 people can benefit from it. Okay, what is important about this for you? Okay, because I have this knowledge and I want to impart this knowledge on others, onto others. Example, yeah, specific. Goal could be you want to write, you want to create a new design, you want to write book, or there's so many things, yeah. Okay, reality. Once we have our goal, and to be honest, to share with you some of the coaching process, yeah, even to identify of goal, to identify your goal, to clarify is not easy. Okay, clarification of what you want, what is the objective, or what is, it might take a few sessions, right? Okay, reality. Reality is our current situation, our current scenario. What is happening now? We ask ourselves, what is happening now? I want that. I want to write a book. But what is happening now? Am I writing a book? I have ideas. No, I do not have ideas. I haven't started yet. So we ask, what is working well for you at the moment? Okay. For example, oh, I have done some research or some using Google Form. I have asked students whether do they need this kind of book. So what have you done so far to improve things? How do you move forward? Right? Reality. That means we are talking about reality. Could be reality is big, it's a vast, and it's very subjective. Then you have to identify your goal. Then uh, relating to your goal, then you can check your reality. Okay, options. All right. Once we have accepted our reality, sometimes it's not nice, but we have to accept it. When we have start accepting our reality, then we can move to options. What could you do? What options do I have? What do you think you should do first? What books should you be reading to help you to achieve your goals? There are options. There are many ways. Okay, and this is where the open-ended question is useful. Do not limit your options. There are many ways. Then you can narrow down your options on how you're going to way forward. Okay, so the next one is the way forward. What will you do? When will you do it? What will it take to turn, for example, from 5 into a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10 or on a scale of 0 to 10? Okay, this is your way forward. But the best thing is if we can have the role play, but not online like this. Later, perhaps if we can have a proper, perhaps by next year should be okay, I think. When we can have a proper workshop, then we can start practicing on a clarification on how to use grow technique to achieve a certain, yeah. Okay, so some of the coaching tips or coaching skills that you have is number one, as we have discussed earlier, is on the awareness or mindfulness, and start with beginner's mind, meaning there is no preconceived ideas. It is okay not to know, accept that, okay, I don't know. Start from zero, no problem. Listen for pin drop, meaning really listen, because if you have noticed, normally in a conversation, there are many agendas. When we start asking questions, sometimes we have our own agendas. But in coaching, it is not our agenda, but our client, our coaches, our students' agenda, because we are not teaching them, but we are assisting them to grow, right? And I think the practice in our young kids as well, okay, our offspring, this is good. When we empower them to talk, we empower them to give ideas. It is their ideas, but we are merely facilitating. However, in school scenario and in the university scenario, normally coaching and mentoring will go hand in hand as well, because we can as well mentor our student with our expert area or our knowledge. And another one is be comfortable with silence, meaning pause. When you ask question, pause for a while. Allow the time for the coachee or the client or the student to understand. Right? Pause. Many people are not comfortable with silence. Right? Follow your intuition, our gut feeling. And one thing which is very, very important is actually the coach's agenda, not our agenda. When we talk even to our, for example, for people with young kids, yeah, we always impose our ideas, which is, in a way, we can guide them, but don't impose our ideas. Let them learn to be creative, to unearth their own ideas. Okay, all right. The first skills, listening. Listening, we call it in coaching, we call it active listening. This is very important because it is not just listening to what is being said. It also means listening to what is not being said. So the question will be, how do you listen to what is not being said? Okay, let us chat for a while. How do we listen to what is not being said? Can I invite participations in? We can discuss a little bit.
We have
Hello.
quite a few people, I think, that have joined in since we first started. So,
Okay.
yeah, just wanted to highlight that. I think we've
Okay.
got, yeah.
Can I share? Can I share?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Kenny. Thank you so much for your lesson. I'm following well.
Okay. Hi,
Okay.
Dr. Kenny.
Yeah. So, your question is, how do we improve our listening skill? Is it?
Yes, yes. How do we listen for what not being said?
Okay. This is the difficult part for me sometimes, especially at the beginning when I was married to my wife, trying to understand her situation, trying to understand what is her intentions. Sometimes you need a PhD or to understand your wife.
You're right. You're right.
But over the years, I think most of the communication is actually non-verbal, but converted into verbal channels, because we do talk a lot about sometimes misunderstanding about things that we misunderstood each other's actions and behaviors. But then we have to sort of like iron out through conversations and asking, why did you that day say that this? Why do you feel that way? So when asking each other, we have dialogue. At the same time, also I have monologue. Monologue means within myself thinking, what have I done wrong, perhaps in our communication. So I think in human communication for listening, it takes skills to really understand the person, where the person is coming from, and also why does the person say this way or that way. So that would be the challenge for us to get used to and to identify how aware are we about ourselves, but at the same time about awareness of other people. So I'm just sharing from my perspective, because one of the reasons why I attended this talk is because I have to also coach my students to become a better researcher. So my field is in qualitative studies. So sometimes most of the training comes in helping them to become reflective researchers first before they really go to the field to really collect data. So a lot of work has to be done in trying to understand what is going on in reality, or what is going on myself as a researcher. So thinking about thinking will be one of the biggest aspect that covers things like journaling and things like that. So these are the things that I want to also highlight. So I think your 4 level of listening skills is really good, but it's also sometimes very difficult to learn instantly. So it is actually a process of learning and changing, and not to become a selective listener, but to also listen to everything that is covering verbal, non-verbal, and also the environment, which is the context of the speaker. So that would be the most important part to listen. So because most of the time the context is always non-spoken, and is also very much felt, in the context. So it's actually a felt culture or where the person is coming from. Yeah.
Rightly put. It is not an easy for us to practice. Perhaps we will spend our lifetime practicing it, learning it bit by bit, because what as you have put it so rightly, what is being said, verbal is just a small part of it. Okay, we can when we talk to people, we can see their body language. They can see you can see the eyes, whether there is a light on the eyes or not. People might not say to you, I am sad, but the way they look, the way they talk, the intonation of the voice, and even their presence, the vibes. They ooze a certain vibes. When the person is happy, it's different. When the person is passionate, it's different. When the person is sad, it's different. And then this is the skills that is useful for us to have in order to help us to communicate better. And the most important thing, as Dr. Kenny has rightly put earlier on, it will be a life, I call it a lifetime journey, and hopefully we are getting better and better at it as we go along. But I feel that the most important skill is, later we will talk about it, is being non-judgmental. We don't judge people. We listen for what is being said. Okay, this is more to the contextual listening. Yeah, we listen of what is the person is saying, rather than we are putting our own what we call it, our own agenda or our own judgment into it. Meaning that when we listen with empty minds. I always say that for a cup full of water, we cannot pour any more water. So we have to remove all the water from that cup so that the new water can be put in. That is the way as well with our paradigm. We don't have any, I call it, what we call it, a preconditioned situation when we listen. We listen for what is being said, but it is not easy. We have to practice it. Try to listen for what is being said rather than when people start talking one sentence, we have ideas already. Or that is what we normally as human we do. We have the preconceived ideas. Or when the person is talking, we are too busy formulating the question. Listen first, then we question. But this is all what we call it is a learning journey for us. Yeah. How about you, Dr. Ng? Do you want to share anything on the um, uh, what we call it listen to beyond to just what being said?
Thing I learned in the UK is that the use of silence is actually very powerful, and a lot of
Yes.
times we tend to jump in a bit too early before you've really given the student time to think about your question and then reflect to be able to give you a very thorough answer. So one of the things that my prof kind of taught us to do was to always just give that extra 5 second pause just to see if they have anything else to offer before we try to then interject and add on to what they've already shared.
Yeah, rightly put. Pause is sometimes uncomfortable for some people, yes. Some people they are uncomfortable with silence. But we can practice, Practice, we just sit still in class, for example. We can even what we call it teach our students on practice silence. I just look at you, you just look at me for say 1 minute. For some people it is so uncomfortable, but as we practice and go along, it is a pause can help people to reflect, to think a bit more deeply and to reflect onto certain thing. Yeah, so we go back to the slides. Thank you both of you, Dr. Kenny and Dr. Ng. It's a good insight on the what we call it listen to what is not being said. It comes in a body language. It comes in a intonation. It can comes in your the way you look, your presence, even the aura or the vibes that you oozes as well. So there are 4 levels. Yeah, one is attentive. Meaning that we give someone full attention. Accurate listening meaning understanding the issue at hand fully. Empathetic listening meaning that we show appreciation of the other person's feelings on the issue at hand, meaning that we put ourselves in their shoes. However, we are not attached emotionally. Do not attach yourself emotionally, but we can put ourselves in their shoes. And generative listening meaning that we fully understand the issue at hand, and therefore it will help us to ask an insightful question or enlightening question. Okay, and early on it was the listening skills, meaning active listening. We listen for what is being said, not just the verbal, but other aspect as well. And after the active listening is our questioning skills. We call it powerful questioning. So if our question is we have the skills in questioning, we ask questions like listening and understanding of coach's perspective, not our agenda, but from coach's perspective, meaning we cannot have a preconceived ideas. Okay, and ask questions that evoke discovery, insightful, commitment. Okay, Commitment, I just, you see, they say back a Wi-Fi network. I hope you can listen to me properly. Okay. Or action. And the question we can have two types. Yeah, one is close-ended and another one is open-ended. And normally we encourage to ask open-ended questions that can create greater clarity, possibility, exploratory or creative learning. An example of a close-ended question, I might ask Dr. Eun, Dr. Kenny, what is your name? Then you have to answer, my name is Dr. Eun, my name is Dr. Kenny, my name is Dr. Amira. But open-ended question I could ask, okay, could you please tell me a little bit about yourself? That means if you like to talk about yourself, it could be, you can talk about 2 hours non-stop because that is an open-ended. You can talk about yourself, your childhood, your career, your growing up time, what you want to do in your life. You can talk about so many things, yeah? So those are the simple example of close-ended and open-ended question. What is your name? Is a close-ended question, meaning when I ask you what is your name, you will answer me in just one sentence. One sentence, my name is ABC. Tell me a little bit about yourself, then the sky is the limit. You can talk about anything. And ask questions that move the coachee towards what they desire, not questions that ask them to justify or dwell in the past. This is the difference, yeah, between coaching, mentoring, and counseling. For coaching is from this point forward. I think I am not a certified counselor, but I have been into counseling courses. Counseling, sometimes you have to revisit your past, okay, to help you to move on. And mentoring is mainly you mentor people and you share your skills with them. But in coaching, normally it is not your agenda. You just empower them to do it for themselves. And I have noticed in the education system, normally we mix a little bit between coaching and mentoring. Sometimes we do need to have some hand holding to move them forward. Okay, some perhaps a certain level, I would say that perhaps some PhD level, postgrad level, you can do quite a lot of coaching. However, undergrad, you have to infuse both coaching and mentoring, and some cases you need to add in a little bit of counseling as well for students. Okay, this is an example of a set of coaching questions. There are many ways you can do it. You can ask, for example, what would be a radical or brave things to do? If you could, this is the normal one, yeah? If you could wave a magic wand, what would be happening differently? What is stopping you? What is really going on for you? What else? Oh, this what else is quite popular. I practice a lot with my researchers, yeah, my PhD students and so on. From there, what else can you do? If you are doing this design, for example, uh, what are the design that yield the similar results? What are the equipment that can be used? What are the measurement technique, for example, that can be used? What else? And they start thinking, they start exploring the possibilities. Example, if there's anything you believe about yourself that might be holding you back, what have you learned? Are you learning about yourself through this process? What is the best or worst thing that could happen? Or the scaling. Scaling also is helpful. Normally, for example, if you have either or they say, okay, I'm progressing very well. All right. And I say, okay, to yourself from 0 to 10, where are you now in terms of your writing up? Because well is rather subjective. So it is helpful actually to use the scaling to help students or our counterpart as well to see how do you assess yourself where you are now. And there are many questions. You can go with your own flow actually. It depending on who are your coaches. Okay. Okay. Having those skills, actually, I purposely put it last. Okay, you understand already what is going on with listening, with questioning, with the self-awareness, self-belief, responsibility, alignment of your conscious and subconscious, etc. But the gateway to trust, in order for us to have that kind of conversation, the person must trust us. I do believe that some of you might have, or some of us have the experience of we are sitting in a, for example, we are sitting in a public place, I mean, prior to MCO, okay, when another person, that a stranger that we don't know, and we start talking, isn't it? They start talking. And we don't know, perhaps your presence there made them trust you, then they start talking. So it is important, yeah, presence and rapport in the coaching process, or in even in the supervising process, I call it. It will not work unless you create a good rapport throughout the relationship. Why do we need to have the good rapport? Is to make sure that the coachee, the clients, our student, to feel relaxed. And when you are feeling relaxed, then you start open up, and so that there is no more barriers. So, and fears. Even if they are fearful, they will tell us, oh, okay, doctor, I'm a little bit nervous here. Then we might say, it's okay, calm yourself down first. I am ready whenever you are. So make them feel relaxed first. And the use of body language as well, the use of voice and language, and the importance of being warm and personable. For example, the student said something like, I'm talking to the student, yeah, because most of us are lecturers, say, okay, doctor, I have managed to design this. And you have to give the word of praise or affirmation. Oh, well done, very good, I'm happy for you. That will open up more things. The student will feel comfortable to share many of their finding. They might even say, oh, I have done this, but I'm not sure about whether this way is the right way or not. Then you can start asking questions. Prior to you doing this kind of thing, have you done some studies? And they say, yes. And what does your studies indicate? And they start asking, That's how you open them up. So the use of body language and eye contact. Look at them. And now and then smiles. Okay. And give them credit. Okay, great. I'm happy for you. Well done. Okay, please tell me more. Then they start talking. Mirroring, meaning gently you match and mirror their body language. If they are, for example, now they are sitting, their head is slightly tilted to the front, okay, you can follow a little bit their body language, meaning that you are reciprocating their action so they can tell you more. If they are moving their body ahead and you start sliding back, in a way your body is telling them, I am not interested, isn't it? I'm not interested to know. Even though you don't mean it that way, but your body is telling otherwise. So one of the technique is mirroring. To me, is it's a good technique where you gently match and mirror their body language. So another one is voice intonation. Okay, well, we cannot help it with a God's given voice or intonation, but when you are passionate and when you are interested on what being said, actually your voice will be slightly different, yeah. Or when you are lax, you don't bother, you don't care, I don't want to know, your voice will be different. So actually, the coaching process is actually just like dating. When you date, you give your all. You give your passion, you give your attention, okay? You give your heart to it. So similar to dating. Okay, another one is empathizing. That means this one you can use from the concept of Daniel Goleman, yeah, on the emotional intelligence. Actually, empathizing is how we put ourselves in other people's shoes, but we have to be careful, as we are not to be emotionally dragged with their issues. I think medical people, you are well trained on this, yeah, not to emotionally detach. Yes,
It's part of
emotionally
the job,
detach.
and you do have to know how to deal with that. Yes.
Yes, yes. So we cannot be emotionally attached. We have to be emotionally detached when necessary and attach it when necessary. But most of the case, when we want to practice to empathize with others, we put ourselves in their shoes, but we have to draw our emotion aside. Later, what happened when the student cry? We cry if we forgot to detach our emotion. Okay, and actually, the effect. Why do we need the empathy? Is for us to be non-judgmental and for us to understand the other person's needs and to show an understanding of their views and feelings. Okay, meaning we respect their views, we respect their feelings. So this is really important when creating trust and rapport in the relationship, in the coaching relationship. Sympathy is slightly different than empathy. Yeah. So we are putting ourselves in their shoes. However, we are not dragged with their emotions. It's just that we are there for us to understand their feelings and situation. Okay, okay. This is also very important. Summarizing and reflecting. Um, when we summarize, this will help us to guide our coachee to allow them to make sense of what they are grappling with. Okay, meaning that we repeat what they have said, taking the main points of the received message and reiterating them. Okay, meaning that I might say, when you say something, I might say, okay, meaning that what you are trying to say is, am I right? You ask them. You summarize it for them. All right. So done in a logical and clear way, it gives the coach a chance to correct something if necessary. Okay, sometimes they say something but they mean another. So when we engage our listening skills, actually we can catch what he wants to say without he is saying it. Okay, that is where it is useful when we start summarize it or we paraphrase it. For example, when he says something that is not clear, we can clarify it for them by paraphrasing. Okay, so it will keep our students, our coachee, focus on the issue and thinking progress. And paraphrasing, I often use it. Summarizing also, I often use it, and it is very helpful. Reflection is a powerful skill as well that can reinforce the thoughts of the coachee. So sometimes you have to reflect. Okay, the last time when you first start design, for example, what type of design that you started with? We go back and then we start carry them to the journey and paraphrase and summarize their achievement. So that is how we facilitate their flow in learning, for example. And not just for students, yeah, we can apply this in all walks of life. Okay, this is unlocking limited beliefs, and actually, limiting beliefs can get people stuck. Okay, so actually through the process we can help them to identify and challenge their underlying limiting beliefs. For example, they say that, oh, I cannot study during daytime, I can only study at night. Okay, when they start studying at night, they go to the class the next morning sleepy. So we have to go through. Perhaps he has the underlying limiting belief to say that I am the night person, I am nocturnal, I'm the night person, I cannot work daytime. So those the process that you can go through. And it can be an enlightening and even an emotional process for the students, for the coachee. So actually, the role of the coach, if we practice the coaching skills, is to get people to question their inner limiting beliefs. And in order for us to do that, meaning that we have to have number one, trust and rapport. When we start building rapport, we will have a mutual respect. We will have trust, and we know the coach or the student know that we never judge them as a person. We are here to sit down with you to sort out the issues at hand. Okay, and we do not judge you for whom you are. So again, we can practice I call it the realignment process. Okay, and of course, one thing that is important as well, how do we stay focused? How do we stay focused? The conversation could take 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. How do we stay focused for the matters that we discuss? Yeah, and because they can be off track, they start talking about something else. Okay, so through the session, stays on track and does not degenerate into a general discussion or chat. How do we handle that? So we have to listen and to pull them on track whenever necessary. So how do we stay focused? We can involve summarizing and guiding the flow of the conversation back to a framework. For example, if we use GROW model, we will go back to what is your goal, what is your current reality, what options do you have, and what is your way forward. So from time to time, sometimes we have to pull them back on the right track, because to go off track is very easy. Okay, this is the mother of all the skills, I call it, being non-judgmental and open mind. We don't finger point, we don't judge people. So in coaching, this is a critical skill, which is the foundation of good coaching. As a coach, it is simple. We don't get to judge another human being. We don't judge people. Being a great coach is about being curious and having an open and inquisitive mind. Actually, it will allow us to focus on doing the best for our coachee by reflecting, providing feedback, and asking great questions, and involve the great listening skills. Okay, and okay, being open-minded, meaning that understanding of different points of view. Okay, it's not our agenda, it is our coaching agenda, and it is very, very important we do not judge another human being. Okay, and okay, okay, on the coaching skills, a little bit. What are the important skills? Earlier on, we start on with self-awareness, and with the self-awareness, we know ourselves, and then when you have that, we build rapport. That means when we build rapport, we create a foundation of mutual trust, presence, mutual respect, presence, and trust. And we practice a good listening skills, active listening. We practice powerful questioning, including open-ended questions, and we practice summarizing and reflecting, meaning that paraphrasing as well. And the critical one is being non-judgmental. We don't judge anybody. And of course, throughout the process, we must stay focused and give constructive feedback. Okay. All right. And this is an example here. A conversation, a simple conversation. Okay. Okay. Can you see the two different conversation? Number one is conversation one. Individual asks, I have got a problem. Manager responds, yes, and what are you going to do about it? For a different approach, the individual said, I have got a problem. And the response, the manager response to will be, what have you tried so far? Okay, can we discuss about the two types of conversation? Can I invite some discussions on the two types of conversation?
Um, sorry, is it okay if
Sure,
I
sure, sure.
okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, by the way, I see that there are a few more people that have joined in here.
Yeah.
I think there's a Prof or Dr. Chai Win Lin, and there's also Dr. Radia
Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Or Prof. Jeannie Wong,
Mm-hmm.
and as well as uh, Muhammad Mahbub. I think is a student.
Okay.
So, okay, just to get back to
All right.
the discussion that you requested,
Mhm.
I think if you go with conversation number one, where the manager's response is, yes, I know you have a problem, so what are you going to do about it? That's not very productive because it puts all of the responsibility for the problem, not just finding the solution, but also solving the problem
Mhm.
on the staff. Whereas conversation two, it is, I think, a better coaching conversation because one, it kind of creates, it kind of like builds into that creating rapport because the manager is actually, trying to get the individual's perspective, trying to learn what they have already done. And also at the same time, it also fits into, I guess, the coaching model of grow because it's actually getting the individual to think about what they have done, but to do so in a safe space, not in a way that they're being judged for what they have tried or have not tried, but in a way that allows their minds to be free and not fearful to share their ideas or even to admit that whatever they've tried fail, or even to admit that they have not even tried to solve the problem or look for a solution yet. So that's my take on it.
Yes, very well put, Dr. Amira. Anybody else would like to give some feedback on that two conversation?
The first one things sounds more challenging, like testing, and it's kind of fearful, like make people feel like if I have the right answer or not.
Yes, true, true, true. So we have noticed that as per our conversation earlier as well, creating a safe environment, yeah, a safe situation, it will help the other person to be a little bit more exploratory, isn't it? That means they are okay to voice out their opinions. It is okay. No answer is wrong. No, even the no answer is a stupid answer or the wrong answer. Okay, because then we can create the situation when we move forward and we can explore further. Yeah. Okay, good. So actually, perhaps I don't know, Umu and Dr. Amira. I think we are finishing. We are concluding already with our coaching basic skills. Are we opening for a discussions, question and answers, opinions?
Um, if you are okay with it, and if the other participants are okay with it, perhaps we can do a short Q&A for the
Sure.
next 10 minutes or so. Would that be all right?
Yeah, sure can. No problem. And you can voice your opinion as well. No problem. I welcome any opinions as well or take on matters. Perhaps some of you have other experience as well.
Okay, that's great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dr. Wen. I guess that if we can open it up to the floor, if there are any questions or anybody wants to share about essentials to coaching, you could, because there are very few of us, I guess it's all right if you just unmute your mic and just ask your question. Or if you're a bit shy to do that, you can type in the chat box and I will monitor that chat box and report to Dr. Wan if there are any questions there.
Hi,
Sorry, open to the floor.
I have a question. When it comes to coaching, right? Due to these current challenges that we have, like for example, a lot of meetings and discussions has to be done online. I mean, how can we actually maintain our coaching skills? In online kind of platform. I mean, the way we talk, the way we use our words, and something like that. I mean, what can we do about it? Because now a lot of things going is actually online. But how can we express this coaching? What do you call it? This coaching way in this virtual way. I mean, instead of face to face. Thank you. That would be my question. Thank you, Dr. Wan.
Okay, can I answer that? Okay, all right. Okay, actually the skills will just be the same skills, all right, but the medium of practice now will be different, meaning that it could be the online meeting, or sometimes it's just the text. I do that with my students as well. Meaning that we have to go through the same, I call it procedure, not procedure, the same flow, all right? Asking, for example, we listen. It's just that with the virtual currently, I'm having as well, for example, the meeting with my project students, but sometimes the line got stuck. Then the what we call it, the momentum will be a bit slow. However, the skills is just the same skills. We can still do the same listening. Listening not necessarily verbal, yeah. The student might send you text. Your researcher might send you text, but from the way they phrase the text, you can listen what they are trying to say. So I think one of the during this time, challenging time, I think our questioning skills perhaps we can use to the max. For example, if we are monitoring our researchers, yeah, or our currently final year project student has to submit their thesis, yeah. So we can start asking a question like, okay, you know that the deadline by the faculty is by this. Okay, guys, where are you now in terms of completing? Can you give me your skills from 1 to 10? Where are you now? And perhaps one student say, okay, I think I'm halfway, say at about 5. And we give them questions a little bit on how they can explore their options. For example, they say, okay, I'm doing simulation, but I'm having a trouble now because I couldn't get in touch with the license, and I do not have the license, so I'm having a trouble. So what you can do is you ask a question, the open-ended question, okay, in that case, what other options do you have? And scaling question like before. Okay, from the scale of 1 to 10, where are you now in completing your thesis? They say 5. Okay, tell me then, let me know how are you going to, what options that you have in order for you to move from 5 to 10, because your deadlines will be in a month time. What is your suggestion in moving or in completing your thesis? Those kind of things. We ask them. We can as well give some suggestion. It's not coaching, but it's mentoring. We infuse it with a little bit of mentoring. But as you said earlier, during this challenging time, that is the best that we can do. Coaching, I know some people, they practice coaching online, but to me, face-to-face is better, but online as well. If we have built our rapport, we have built our agreement with our coachee, then it can be practiced. The skill is just the same. Am I answering the question?
Prof,
Yes, Dr. Wan. Thank you so much.
With the online way of coaching, is it less effective? Because I have should we at this point to say that okay, call the student for a physical meeting at this point of time, because now we're talking about always working in the new norm and all that, should we still stick to say okay, please come and see us and things like that? Another thing is coaching. If we have a student but we ask them about their progress and all that, they just ignore you. You write them email, they don't respond. You WhatsApp them, they don't respond. What do you do in this case?
Okay, there are the terms uncoachable. There are terms uncoachable or unsupervisable. I know there are cases like that as well. However, yeah, we can try.
In this case, there's your student, the student that you are supervising. So in this case, you are supposed to supervise them, but you cannot reach to them. So does it bend down to like, is it our fault? Then how much do we do to reach out to the student so that we don't get later to say that you don't bother about the student, you don't care about the student. It's very difficult to juggle because you try to reach out to them, they don't respond.
I understand. I think most lecturers have that problem anyway. Some are just missing in radar. We cannot detect them at all. Okay, some only come back without any supervision, just come back, everything is completed. We don't know what is going on. We have a monitor. Okay, having that scenario, normally what I will do personally, I will ask the student. If they keep missing, quiet, I say, are you still interested to complete your degree? Are you still interested to complete your final year thesis under my supervision? Just let me know. If I can help you, let me know, get in touch with me. That is normally I will do. If, for example, I've been chasing them for 3 months and they never appear, never answer my text, never answer my email, because some are doing this, I don't know, perhaps they have a problem. I say, if you have a problem, come and talk to me. Perhaps we can have a discussions. Are you all right? First, you try to do all the TLC, tender loving care first. And then you can escalate a little bit. Ask, how are you? Are you okay? Are you safe? Are you healthy? And then there is no answer, you ask again. And lastly, you can ask them, okay, are you still interested to pursue your degree under my supervision? If you are not, feel free to tell me, I'm okay. That's one way of doing it. It's difficult, I know. Balancing our responsibilities in educating and nurturing them and get them to be in commitment and responsible. Even if they do not want to be under our supervision, we will encourage them to be truthful. Say, for example, okay, it's okay. Perhaps we do not have the right chemistry. You are more comfortable to work with other people. It's okay, do it properly. I'm okay about that. Let them know, that we are okay about it. Now, some of them, it's just that they just lost in track, isn't it? And last minute come and want us to pass them. It's a bit difficult because we have to do our job.
Yeah, because when they don't produce good results, then the seniors will then blame you. What have you done? Why you did not do this? Why did not detect the problem early? Why you did not? It's like become our fault because we didn't do enough.
Meaning that don't take it too personally. We have tried. I don't know whether you have joined our earlier conversation, our earlier slides, our earlier training. We were talking about the self-awareness. We are aware of what we are doing, what is right, what we want to do. As long as we know what we are doing right, along the way, actually, we will see many things, we will meet many people, we will hear many things. But how do we detach that emotionally? Not to feel affected, because anybody along the way can say anything. But as long as we are aware of our action, we are aware of our doing, we will nurture ourselves not to be what we call it affected, emotionally affected by such a thing, as long as we know what we are doing. Detach. Sometimes we do have to detach our emotion in handling a certain situation. It's not easy, but it is learnable.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, you are most welcome. Good luck. Most of us in that situation anyway.
Okay, while waiting, if there's anyone else who would like to ask any questions, I'm just scrolling through the chat. So I don't see any questions on the chat, but I just want to remind everyone that before you leave the meeting later, please do check the chat. We have a link to our feedback forum. We do that for every training, so please do be sure to click on that link and to just give us our feedback on that. And Dr. Raida sent her apologies. She is actually on leave at Kampong and she doesn't have a mic and camera, so the line is also very bad, so she couldn't really participate fully, but I think she wanted to, so that's a bit sad. And Prof or Dr. Chai also sent her regards. She had to leave for another meeting just now, so just wanted to update everybody on that. Okay, sorry, just to check, is anybody hearing me?
Yes.
Doc-
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's great, thanks. So if we will give it another couple of seconds. If we have any, maybe one more question, we can take that. If not, then we'll just give it another few more seconds, and then I can say thank you to Dr. Wan, and we can take leave and say our goodbyes. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so that's all right. Dr. Wan, is it okay if I continue? Okay, this might be a bit of a line problem, but that's all right. Luckily, for the entirety of the webinar today, we actually managed to hear Dr. Wan and that was not disconnected. So if this had to happen, this is actually a very good time for it to happen because it's actually already at the end. Oh, Dr. Wan, you're back. Can you, yeah, we lost you for a moment just now. Can you hear us? Your screen is also a bit frozen. Okay, that's all right. Dr. Wan probably can't connect back, but hopefully Dr. Wan can hear us. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody for joining in, for chiming in and joining the discussion. And of course, thank you so very much to Dr. Wan for sharing with us what you know and your expertise about coaching. Hopefully, it's something that all of us can bring back and use with our students and our families and our colleagues as well. And I hope that everyone has benefited from this session. And we'll see you again for another ADEC webinar. And keep in touch and check out our Teach online announcements for our upcoming webinars. So thank you again. Thank you so much, Dr. Wan. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Wan. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Wan. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dr. Wan dapat balik. Terputus kejap tadi.
The battery is suddenly gone. I don't know why the connection.
Tapi Alhamdulillah, the timing was just perfect.
I know.
Kan? Like, syukur sangat.
Okay lah. Okay, Alhamdulillah. I hope all went well.